WSAZ News Channel 3, 6 o'clock.
A vandal strikes again, leaving behind an expensive mess, one that you will end up paying for.
Plus, school bus struggle. A construction project leaves one neighborhood battling to get their kids to class. Good evening. I'm Tim here in Huntington.
I'm Jessica Ralston in Charleston. First tonight, more graffiti popping up all over the capital city. This is a neighborhood crime alert we broke right here on News Channel 3. The latest target, the Faith Community Church on Charleston's west side. Late this afternoon, the word Dice was found spray painted on the side of the building. Now this comes after the West Virginia Bureau of Senior Services and the Charleston Fire Department were vandalized overnight. Caitlin Sykes joins us live from Florida Street with the latest.
Well, you can see this is the latest piece of graffiti, a dice written on the back door of the Faith Community Church. But that's not the only piece of graffiti that's in this area. Right across from the church, you can see on this fence right here, dice has also been written on it. Kind of hard to see, but again, that's not even in this alleyway. You can see dice written here. You can see that they drew, even wrote a message, "We a group, Dice Kings." You know, as big of a problem this has been over the past couple weeks, city leaders said it's not as big as a problem as it was 10 years ago. Regardless, they say enough is enough, and they're working around the clock to put an end to it. Debbie Kittinger is the fleet manager of the West Virginia Bureau of Senior Services and spent her Wednesday morning surveying the damage to 3 of her company's vehicles.
We've been here 8 years, and this is the first incident, and I don't like it.
The tagger, who's already hit the Salvation Army, HealthNet building, homes, and garages, struck again, spray painting dice on the cars parked on the 5th floor of the Charleston Town Center Mall's parking garage.
It makes me mad, but I guess brats will be brats.
Also targeted the Charleston Fire Department. Dice painted on Assistant Chief Owen Hawk's car.
It's definitely frustrating that somebody goes around has no more respect for somebody else's property.
Frustrating for city leaders as well.
The only thing you can do is as soon as the graffiti goes up, you get it off. And it upsets the people that, quote, tag.
Mayor Danny Jones said 10 years ago graffiti was a huge problem across the city. That's when leaders put together an anti-graffiti squad whose sole purpose is to clean up messes just like this one.
When I first started, we couldn't drive down an alley anywhere in Charleston without seeing graffiti.
But graffiti like this is costing you, the taxpayer, thousands of dollars. Mayor Jones said they spend about $70 grand a year cleaning it up. Some businesses are taking the cleanup into their own hands, like this one also tagged by Dice. But until Dice is caught, leaders are left cleaning up the trail of paint. Now, Charleston police said they've been working on this case since day one. They've been following up on a number of leads. They said if you have any information on who's doing this, to give them a call.
All right, Caitlin. And Mayor Jones says if your home is vandalized by graffiti, to give them a call. They can send out their anti-graffiti crews to clean it up for you.
A scary scene played out at a high school in northern Kanawha County today. Deputies say Russell Ellswick showed up at Herbert Hoover High School just after 5 this morning. Employees there called police after they noticed he was carrying a shotgun. Ellswick was found in his truck. Deputies say he wouldn't cooperate. He had to be physically restrained while they put him in handcuffs. He is now charged with making terroristic threats and having a gun on school property. 2 deputies were hurt during the struggle with Ellswick. They were both treated and released for their injuries. We are learning new details now about an armed robbery at a pharmacy in Putnam County. Deputies there say a man armed with a gun went into the Buffalo drug store around 7 o'clock last night. He was able to get away with a large amount of prescription pills. No one was hurt. The man was able to get away before police arrived. We're going to hear from the owner of that pharmacy new tonight at 10 and 11. If your child takes the school bus, you know it can be a long trip, but for dozens of parents on Sugar Creek Road right here in Charleston, just getting to the bus is more than half the battle. WSAZ Charleston's Kathleen Moxie experienced those traffic problems firsthand today, and really, there is no quick solution.
No, Jessica, there is really no way around this sewage project that's been wreaking havoc on that road for months. But it is now to the point where parents are having trouble just getting their kids to school.
Driving along Sugar Creek Road can be a dusty
and bumpy ride.
That's not wide enough for a school bus to get through right there.
And City Council member William Kirk knows that's not what parents want to hear.
They need to hurry up and get it done, I'm telling you. Because you can't get the school buses up here or nothing.
Family called me last night, had an 8-year-old girl, and there was no way that she could walk from up where she lives to the mouth of Sugar Creek this morning. We have no sidewalks, and all we have are holes in the road.
It's all because of a mandatory sewage project.
It's needed 100% because if we had not done this project, the federal government would have come in and done it for us.
And Kirk says that would cost twice as much. But that's the last thing on the minds of hundreds of neighbors who battle the traffic backup every day.
I'm very frustrated. It's been like this all from the beginning of summer. And we keep thinking it's going to get better, and it just keeps getting worse.
This line has been backed up for about 15 minutes now, and the driver in this car just told me she has waited up to 45 minutes just to get from here to her house a couple of miles up the road. So for parents trying to get their children to the bus in time, that's not easy.
You're going to have to take her every day.
Every day.
At least until construction wraps up, which some fear could be a long road ahead. I called the director of the Charleston Sanitary Board today to see if there's any sort of timeline as to when this portion of the project will be finished. Jessica, that call has not yet been returned.
Well, Kirk did tell us he's working to try to get a van now to pick up the students and take them to the school bus.
Now, more Charleston news.
A court case no one in the Kanawha Valley will soon forget will now be in the national spotlight. Ethan Chick Colbert was convicted of domestic battery and child neglect resulting in death in July. Prosecutors say he was beating his girlfriend inside her car on the interstate. Her 11-year-old son, Jaleel Clements, got out of the car to get help for his mom when he was accidentally hit and killed by another car. The trial and sentencing surrounding this case will now air on True TV's In Session. Prosecuting attorney Mark Plant says he wants this case to serve as a reminder that domestic violence can happen anywhere.
Tempers flare. Obviously, there's potential for danger for domestic violence. In this case, it occurred in a car. The car was pulled over, and a small child got out and was struck and killed.
The trial begins airing tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. Chick Colbert is currently serving a 6 to 30-year prison sentence. Round 2 tonight. The man at the center of the 2003 sniper shootings was back in federal court today. He pleaded guilty to gun charges again, and they had nothing to do with those sniper killings. WSAZ Charleston's Brooks DeRose was in the courtroom.
Personally, for me, it doesn't get easier. For the families of the 3 sniper victims, it's been a long road and a roller coaster, coming face to face with Sean Lester, the man they hold responsible for the killings.
It just breaks my heart because he chose to take her life, and Okie's and Gary's, and I think he should be punished to the fullest that he can get.
Lester faced a federal judge and pleaded guilty to gun charges not connected to the sniper case. It's the second time he's admitted guilt, because the first time he struck a deal, but the judge said the sentence wasn't long enough. Lester responded to those federal charges during our WSAZ exclusive interview several months ago.
You know, I held this weapon for literally under a minute, and I'll be going to prison for that.
But for family members who lost loved ones in the sniper killings, no amount of time can heal their wounds. Over the summer, Lester pleaded guilty to his involvement in the murder of Jeannie Patton. In exchange, charges were dropped in the other 2 murders.
Maybe someday I'll be able to let go of the anger, but right now, I just can't.
Not able to let go, but no longer forced to wait for all of this to come to a close. Brooks DeRose, WSAZ News Channel 3, Charleston.
As part of the plea deal, a federal drug charge was dropped. Sean Lester faces up to 20 years in prison and a $500,000 fine. He is scheduled to be sentenced in early December. Walker Machinery is moving forward with plans now to move into the underground mining industry. Today, the company announced plans to buy Caterpillar's operations in Logan County. The deal will create an underground mining division. Walker Machinery also plans to hire a few dozen more workers. Company leaders say the coal industry has had some tough times, but they are optimistic about the future.
Right now, we're very dependent on the mining industry. We're feeling the same pain as all of the miners and operators are feeling, and the local communities, because there's kind of a gray cloud hanging over our industry. But we think long term the prospects are very good for the mining industry in this area.
In the past, most of Walker's business has come from surface mining. They say moving into the underground industry will help position the company for the future. The canvass of the votes cast in Kanawha County is now a done deal. In the 35th House of Delegates district, it shows Republican newcomer John McCuskey did beat Democratic incumbent Bobby Hatfield, but by just 41 votes. Now, the totals are not official. The county commission still has to certify the results, and Hatfield can request a recount. At last check, she told us she hasn't made a decision on that just yet. Some changes are in the works for the Smart 529 College Savings Plan in West Virginia. Families enrolled in the direct plan will no longer have a minimum contribution requirement. The plan will also invest primarily in Vanguard funds. State officials say the move will help the direct plan be one of the cheapest in the country. State Treasurer John Perdue says this will help more students afford a college education.
In West Virginia now to invest in a college savings program for their child or grandchild, and they don't have to worry about paying that fee. If they want to put $1 in, they can get started. No excuses now. It's a win-win-win.
The changes will affect 9,000 families here in West Virginia. If you'd like more information, head on over to our web channel at WSAZCharleston.com and click on our featured links. An event here in the capital city will bring people into the dark to shed light on a growing problem. The One Night Without a Home event is set for Friday night on Magic Island. It starts at 6 o'clock and continues through 6 o'clock Saturday morning. Several groups, including the Covenant House, the YWCA, and the Salvation Army, put on this event every year to show what it's like to be homeless and in the cold for a night. Organizers say it's hard for most of us to imagine what it's like to be without a home.
I believe that whenever people can see, what it is like for others to be homeless, and once they're aware of it, they won't, they'll see it differently like I do. Like now I appreciate things so much more. I appreciate having a home. I appreciate the things that I have in my life now because of my homelessness.
And they will also be holding a food drive that night. Items like peanut butter, dry pasta, cereal, and canned goods will be collected. Still ahead here at 6, a community standing strong decades after tragedy tore lives apart.
And after a disappointing, hazy, and partly to mostly cloudy day in the Kanawha Valley, brighter times are ahead, and that means temperatures will respond in kind. It'll start feeling milder tomorrow afternoon. I'll preview your weekend forecast when I come back on WSAZ Charleston.